Hello again, and welcome to the Book 2, Unit 2 grammar video for indirect questions from WH questions. So let's get started. We're going to watch the dialogue portion of the video now. Kayla is grocery shopping with her son. It's her first time at this supermarket.
Excuse me,
Yes, ma'am?
can you tell me where the flour is?
Sure. The flour is in aisle 6.
Oh, okay. Do you know where I can find the sugar?
Sugar is also in aisle 6, just next to the flour.
I want some ice cream.
Shh, not now, sweetie. Sorry, I'm also looking for eggs. Could you tell me where they are?
The eggs are at the end of aisle 4.
Thank you. And do you know how much a dozen eggs cost?
Sorry, ma'am, I'm not sure.
That's okay. One last thing. Can you tell me what time the store closes?
We close at 10.
I want some ice cream.
Could you tell me where the ice cream is?
Of course, ma'am. It's just at the end of this aisle. Okay, so let's look at the grammar in more detail. Remember that today's grammar topic is indirect questions. So let's look at a question that Kayla asked the stock boy. One of the questions Kayla had was, where is the flour? But Kayla didn't use this structure. She did not say these words exactly. She asked, can you tell me where the flour is? Now, both of these questions are asking for the same information, the location of the flour. But this first question on bottom, where is the flour, is a direct question. And this question here on top, can you tell me where the flour is an indirect question. Consider the relationship between Kayla and the stock boy. Kayla and the stock boy are not friends, they're not family, they're strangers. They've never met before. And Kayla is using indirect questions because the situation is more formal. We use indirect questions to be more polite. Imagine Kayla were asking a question to her son. She would probably only use direct questions like, are you hungry, or what do you want to eat? Because their relationship is not so formal. They do not need to interact with indirect questions. Let's look more specifically about the structure of an indirect question. First of all, when I'm making an indirect question, the very first thing I need is a phrase like this. Can you tell me? Or could you tell me? Or do you know? Kayla is going to begin all of her indirect questions with these three phrases. Can you tell me? Could you tell me? Or do you know? So that's the first thing we need. So let's first look at what happens when I make an indirect question with the verb be. So we're going to transform our direct question into an indirect question. So here are two direct questions with be. Where is the flour? Where are the eggs? We have is and are here. I've moved them down here, but we're going to transform them now. So in Kayla's indirect question, remember the very first thing we need is one of these phrases. Can you tell me, or could you tell me? Now, I can't say, can you tell me where is the flour? That's not correct. What's going to happen here when I'm making an indirect question with be is I'm going to switch be and the subject. I'm going to switch these so that this looks like a statement and not a question. So now it looks like this. Can you tell me where the flour is? Not where is the flour. Okay? So now this is the structure of my indirect question. Here's my question, can you tell me? And here I have a statement inside of the question. So let's do the same thing down here. Could you tell me? And we're going to switch the verb be and the subject. Could you tell me where the eggs are? Not where are the eggs. Okay? So the first way to make an indirect question. When it is the verb to be, you're going to switch the subject and the be, so that now the subject is first and be is second. So let's look at another formation. What happens when I have the auxiliary do or does in a direct question changed into an indirect question? So here again I have two examples. How much do eggs cost? What time does the store close? These are two direct questions. So remember, in the indirect, the very first thing I need is an expression like do you know or can you tell me? And now I can't say this, do you know how much do eggs cost? That's not possible. So when I have do or does in my indirect question, I'm going to eliminate those auxiliaries. Eliminate the auxiliary. Okay? And so now my indirect question is, do you know how much eggs cost? Just like that. Okay? No do. The same thing happens here, but be careful with does. There will be another change. Can you tell me what time does the store close becomes what time the store closes. When you eliminate does from this sentence, you're going to have to add the third person s onto this verb. Can you tell me what time the store closes, not close? Okay, so be careful. That's only when it's does that you're going to have to do this. Okay, remember to make that change. So the last indirect question we're going to look at is an indirect question with can. When I have a modal like can in my question, where can I find the sugar, or when can you help me? This is a pretty simple change. In fact, it's very much like making a question with be. So remember, number one, in indirect, I need an expression like could you tell me, or do you know, or can you tell me, that any of those. And I'm going to change this over here. Just like with be, you're going to switch this auxiliary and the subject. I'm going to make that switch down here too. This auxiliary and the subject. So now, could you tell me where can I find is now could you tell me where I can find. Could you tell me where I can find the sugar? Do you know when you can help me? So these are my indirect questions formed from these direct questions. So that's the grammar, and I want you now to try the exercises on the website. Thanks for watching.